here at Livehealthy Studios in Abu Dhabi. I'm Ann Marie McQueen, editorial director of Livehealthy, and I'm here today with Bart Dries to talk all about cycling. He is an ex-semi-professional cyclist from Belgium.
Correct.
Started cycling when he was 3 years old. You learned from your grandfather. I have to hear about that.
Yes.
An engineer by trade, but then went into the retail side of cycling.
Yes.
And joined Wolfi's bike shop on Hudayriayat Island, the sort of locus of cycling in Abu Dhabi 2 years ago, and is also brand manager for Colnago. And that is a beautiful space. So
Correct.
I am so excited to talk to you about cycling. Let's just talk first of all about your early, 3 years old, you learned how to ride a bike. So tell me how that happened. I know how I learned.
Yeah, well, it was all orchestrated or directed by my grandfather, who was also a cyclist, on an amateur level. But he was, in his, still remember in his little shed down in the garage, he had this little workshop where he was working on bikes. Mm-hmm. And he had all these, even professional riders coming to his place to have some stuff done on his bike. Then obviously he took me to the races. We went in the local villages, but you have to see that in Belgium cycling is we saw it again yesterday with the Tour of Flanders. Is like the estimation was like 1 million people were around the course in Belgium watching the Tour of Flanders, so it's huge, right? So and at that time there was like in my village there were like 20-30 races a year, or a season. So it's just big, and then you go and watch the races. And then by the time I was able to ride a bike, he got me this little bike with the drop handlebars, and there were little wooden blocks on my pedals because I was too small to reach the pedal, so he put little wooden blocks on the pedals, and these training wheels on the side, and that's when I started riding a bike. And then but only that time it wasn't allowed to start racing before you were 12 years old in Belgium. That was the rules. So I had to wait. And then obviously you went to play football. But then when I 11 was like, okay, it's time to go riding.
Okay, can I just go back to the riding of the bike?
Sure.
Because I know there was a big debate when I was growing up, training wheels or no training wheels. And my dad taught me with no training wheels, and there were a lot of spills and scrapes.
Yeah.
But he said if you have training wheels, you're always going to rely on the training wheels. So what do you think, just for parents who are thinking about it now?
Yeah, it helps, and there's a bit of a little trick is that you don't want the training wheels to touch the ground really, so just a little bit higher, so you get that balance, but you don't flip over, So that's a trick. Of course, nowadays you also have what we call those balance or balance bikes. It's like little toddler bikes without pedals or without a crank. So the kids have to run. They run with it, and then but still again they get that balance. So and even you can do it with bigger bikes. Just take off the pedals, for example, so they can run, but still then you get that balance feeling, and then. By the time, once you see them going, put on the pedals and
okay, we'll talk about that later because there's a lot of adults who don't know how to ride bikes, so we'll talk about that later. When you got into racing, what drew you to it? What's your favorite thing about it?
There's many aspects. Of course, when you're a kid, you look at those big heroes winning those big races, and then you dream about becoming one of them, and battling on the bike. But what if I look back now, what I really learned about or what cycling brought to me is resilience, is that drive to and a focus, and. Other than of course nowadays cycling is also a lot of team sport, but it's more individual, and at the end when you're in a football team or basketball, whatever team sport, you have this trainer and this club, and they tell you come to the training. We have 2-3 times a week we have training, weekends we have the games. But with cycling it's different. It's you, if you don't take your bike and you don't jump on your bike, it's not going to happen in the weekend, right? So you get dropped straight away, and that makes you, you really that drive to go training rides, and then in the weekends the races, and the training to perform in the races. Yeah.
How much time would you spend training at the height?
20 hours a week. Yeah.
And always on your bike, or would you do some off conditioning?
Well, again, also that's changed a lot. Yeah, back in the days, they said running is not good for a rider, for a cyclist. There wasn't really gym work. Yeah, so it was mainly focused on cycling. Where nowadays there's a lot of changes. Yeah, there's also a lot of focus on core strength. Yeah, because a lot of when you cycle, especially when you're climbing. And sprinting, a lot of strength comes out of your back and your core. So we see that cyclists now a lot of do practice on core training as well, and strength in the gym. Yeah. So that changes a lot, but mostly it's on the bike. Yeah.
That was always a joke when I was growing up from people who were cycling, is that they just had this really strong lower body, but like this.
Yeah.
Does upper body strength play into cycling?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And how does that work?
Well, again, so. Arm strength not as much, of course, but especially the core, because when you sit on your saddle and going uphill is a good example. You feel that a lot of your strength comes out of your lower back and the core. Yeah. So and also stability. Yeah. Stability on the bike is important. So that helps a lot. Yeah.
And when you were in your competitive career, what was like the best thing that you can remember from it?
The best thing is, well, again, when we had at that time, there was a big, let's say, classic for junior riders and it finished in my hometown. Yeah, actually, the finish was straight in front of the school where I used to go to school. Yeah, high school. So and I finished third in that race. Almost second, but okay, just on the line, second place, and you're on the podium was in front of the school, and a lot of people were there. Kids where I used to go to school with, and you're on that podium, right? And that's it's like wow, Yeah. So that's memories. That's just that keeps with you, and that's what cycling
Did you have any bad accidents?
Oh yeah.
What happened?
You really want to talk?
Yeah.
I need to promote cycling here.
I know, but we have to be real. And you're riding at a high level.
Yeah. There were a few things or a few crashes that still in my memory, and one of them was unfortunately on a training ride, and I was on the cycling path, and there was a car parked next to the road, and the lady unfortunately opened her door when I just passed, so I hit the.
It's like the thing you see in every movie or TV show.
Yeah. I hit which still leaves me a scar here.
Wow.
So I hit the door pretty
Did you go
bad.
flying over like you always?
Yeah. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but and then another crash I really remember was in full sprint in a race when my handlebars broke. So yeah. Full sprint was for fourth to fifth place, can't remember, and my bars broke, and that was pretty bad. Yeah. But
what did you do how did you get out of that?
You can't do anything. you just
stop or
no, you can't, because your bars are here and your bike has no more. So your wheel flips, and then you really and then you just have to. Yeah, it all happens so fast, but you just have to hope that. The injuries are not too bad, but often it's weird that with cycling, the faster when there is a crash, the faster you go. Often, you get a lot of rash, burn, and that really, but you don't brake so much because you slide more. When you go slower, then that's when you put your hands and that's when often you see wrists or collarbones or.
How do you keep your head about you when you're in that crowd of people?
Yeah, it's experience. It's just doing it from a young and I get it. If you start doing it at a later age, I mean, I'm much more when you're young. You go for it, right? And there's a little space, and my handlebars fit. I go into it. Now you're like, oh no, I'll brake. Yeah, but if you brake, then you lose it, right? So you lose positions in the peloton. So with getting older, you're a bit more careful. But it's just for me it's a natural habit that I've been there from from when I was 12. So yeah.
So you gave it up, and you didn't give it up. You probably already always cycled, but you went and became an engineer, and you did that for like 17 years.
Well, I did give it. I mean, give it. When I stopped my semi-professional career, 2004, almost 10 years, I barely touched the bike. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
What was going on then?
Well, life, work, a daughter, a house, and coaching. I stayed into cycling, but I started coaching junior riders. Yeah, and that also brought a lot of extra things. Preparing races, making up a team roster. It was everything, right? You do a management of a team. You're calling hotels, arranging the hotels, signing up for the races, making sure the riders have everything they need. So it's and that in combination with work and a house and a kid, and so that made it that you didn't really have time to ride yourself.
Did you feel it? Did you feel the loss?
Yeah.
Like, how did it feel?
Yeah. Not good, actually. Well, of course, you're so busy that you don't really realize it. But then, with coming here in Abu Dhabi and started cycling again, and gaining 20 kilos and then losing 20 kilos again, and then you feel like, oh God, you really feel better. Yeah, really feel better.
You almost don't know until it's over how it was, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also in work, you just feel much more energetic in work and in everything you do. You just feel it. Yeah.
So you do understand, because I bet people come and say, "Oh, well, he's always cycled and he wouldn't know how I feel."
No, yeah, I completely understand. Yeah, because for 10 years I was off the bike, and now I realize that how important it is. Yeah.
So when you came here, now you've been on Hudayriayat Island. That has really exploded with cycling. So what's going on out there? Just explain to us, because people haven't seen it. You can't really grasp what's going on.
Yeah, it's amazing. I heard it often from people who come there who've not been there for months. They're like, oh my God, it's changed again. So yeah, it's so obviously we have the cycle track. Yeah. And then we have now, since a couple of months, they opened Trail X, the mountain bike track. So it's a 15K mountain bike track with several loops, like colored like you have in ski slopes, different colors for different skills and abilities, which is such a beautiful track, well built. Then now they started building the velodrome, so we will have an indoor cycling track, a wooden cycling track, a UCI approved cycling track. I believe, I was told that by the end of the year the Kelly Slater wave pool will open, so artificial surf pool. Obviously you have 3-to-1 sports where you have the pedal courts, where you have the obstacle course. So there's a lot of things going on. Yeah.
Can you just tell me a little bit about the cycling community that's in UAE and what's, how to get it, how to join that? What is it? How does it look?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of cycling groups, that go out every week. It's like, for example, one of the biggest ones is Raha Cycling, and they have Raha Cycling Club, and they have different levels of groups going out. Yeah, and when they go out, they always have a support car, so you're not left out on the roads by yourself. My group, we go out. It's a bit more challenging. It's a bit more faster, but also so there are different levels. There's with Wolfi's, we organize almost daily. We have rides. Yeah, we have Monday rides with the ladies, for the ladies on Hudayriayat. We have the Tuesday beginners rides on Hudayriayat. Then we have rides on Yas Marina circuit, because if you know or not know, every Monday and Wednesday Yas Marina circuit is open in the evening from 6 to 10 to ride
free bikes.
With free bikes available. And if you want to have slightly better experience, you can always rent one of our bikes. Tuesday is also open, but that's ladies only, which is amazing, you know. That's super cool. There were ski rides on Hudayriayat every Wednesday, also ladies only. That's finished now with Ramadan and for summer, but I'm sure they will pick up again. That's we have Abu Dhabi Cycling Club, yeah, who does a lot of kids development and supports all like the ski rides, supports a lot of activities. And then of course you have the races, yeah, which a lot of them are because people often are scared when they say races, but a lot of them are also community races, yeah. So yeah, that's and I've been here now for almost 8 years, and you know, every year you see it growing. And then of course what I've actually seen it also here when coming to the office here is that they're building the cycle path here, right?
Yes.
So all around Abu Dhabi, I mean, in a couple of I would say 2 years time, you will find cycling paths all around Abu Dhabi. Yeah. If I see what they're doing, for example, in Khalifa City, yeah, with the cycle paths, it's amazing. Yeah.
They're linking up almost the whole city. The government has put a lot of resources into this.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think, but it's too dangerous to cycle around the city here. And I know that was always my thought because I've been living here for a long time, and I have cycled, and it was dangerous. It still is dangerous for me to ride to the supermarket, and you know, people either give you a giant berth or they come right close to. But increasingly, you're going to be like already. You're probably living near a place that there's a bike path if you walk your bike there.
Yeah, I think in a year's time or 2 years' time, yeah, almost everybody will find a cycle path nearby, or at least a cycle path to go somewhere where you can then cycle faster or whatever you want to do. Or
and then big events are coming to the UAE as well. Can you just talk a little bit about those?
Yeah. So we have been announced, or Abu Dhabi has been announced, UCI Cycle City or Bike City.
What does that mean, UCI Cycle City?
So UCI is the International Cycling Federation, yeah. So the guys who or the organization who organizes the World Championships in all disciplines: mountain bike, road racing, track racing. We had on the Corniche, we had the BMX cycling festival, yeah, which was so well organized, a huge world championship event with freestyle BMX, and it's super cool to see the trial bikes also.
Flying through the air with the...
do the jumps and the tricks, and then you had the trials. You know, the guys who go on the rocks and jump, you know, balancing on the rear wheel, and super spectacular to see. So so all these events that the UCI actually organizers will come to Abu Dhabi. Once the indoor cycling track will be finished and open, we will see the World Championships indoor cycling here, we have the Grand Fondos. Yeah,
what does that mean, the Grand Fondos?
A Grand Fondo usually is like a long distance ride. Which you mostly have a competitive side, and then you have a community side. Yeah, so it's just like for example, we started in Abu Dhabi city and finished in Al-Ain. So you do a 170k ride on the highway, but the highway is traffic free. You know, it's closed, so you're safe. We're really well organized, and it, you know, it gives you this again. Cycling is freedom, right? And it gives you this.
Cycling is freedom. Okay, so let's talk about getting into cycling. If you don't know how to ride a bike, or you're not very good at it, I know people. There's always a resistance to new bikes. So it's like, but Bart, it's really scary. But Bart, my back hurts. But Bart, my undercarriage hurts. Everyone always talks about the undercarriage. So what do you say? Are those the blocks you hear?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, it's important to know what your goal is. Yes, what do you want to achieve with cycling? Yeah, is it, you know, feeling healthier? Do you want to start racing? Do you want to do triathlons, duathlons, or is it just for fun? You want to go with the family, with the wife or husband or kids? What do you want to do? Yes, how often are you gonna ride, yeah, and where you're gonna ride, off-road, on-road, yeah. So these are the first things you need to figure out for yourself. Okay, what I want to do, or in first instance, yeah. Hopefully you get you get that micro and you just kick off. But no, that's the first thing, and then you can define, or we can help you define the right bike for you. Which type of bike? Once we have that process done, then it's okay. Which size do you need? Yeah, okay. And this is very important. And people, I see it weekly on Hudayriayat, that people are on the wrong size of bike.
Okay.
Or the wrong position. The size might be right, but the position is wrong. Yeah.
They're sitting in the wrong position?
Sitting in the wrong position, yeah.
What's the wrong position?
Yeah, too low, too high, too short, too far. The seat, but also the reach okay. to the bars, the type of bars. The bars are too wide, the bars are too narrow, and all these things can cause issues where that you don't really think about it. You think, I don't like cycling because it hurts, but that's because your position is not right on the bike, or you have the wrong bike, the wrong type of bike. And so these are things that you really need to consider, and where we can help, and especially, like I said, position is so important, because we often see that people come into the shop and they say, my bum hurts, I can't cycle, I don't enjoy it anymore, and I want a new saddle, or a new seat, We say, no, let's first look at your position, because that can already take away a lot of issues, pressure points. It's all about pressure points, and that's why we also started now the high performance lab, where you can do all these things. So they have with GBO mice, they measure pressure points of the saddle, for example. It's with sensors, okay. So it's a cover on the saddle with sensors where you can actually see your pressure points, and then by changing, for example, changing saddle height can already take away a lot of pain.
I will say we came and rode your bikes, and that I didn't complain about. That was not a complaint.
Okay.
Which it just pops in your head.
Yeah, it's also something when you rent a bike, it's okay. We measure you, so at least you get the right positions. Often length is sometimes more difficult to adjust. Yeah, but at least you have the right seat height. Yeah. Also, it's stretching of the knees. If you start cycling, also shoes, we talked about it before, but shoes, getting the right size, the right type of shoes when cycling. Often a cycling shoe has a very stiff sole, and that also helps, in the cycling performance, the numbness of feet, those kind of things. Cycling socks, cycling shorts, very important. Don't go riding a bike without cycling shorts. They have a purpose,
with the cushion in them.
With the cushion,
What about women? Are women, because in the UAE, I think there may be a little bit more trepidation among women about cycling. What can you say to them to encourage them to give it a try?
The same thing, It's make sure you have the right equipment before you start riding, or when you start riding the bike. Shorts, cycling shorts. Invest in good cycling shorts. I know there's a lot of products or brands out there who offer you that, but it's the same with. I compare this with running shoes often, and people often get that link better. But you also don't go running a marathon on flip flops, or Crocs. I mean, a good cycling shorts is as important as your position on the bike. Okay. Yeah.
And there's a huge community, like a social aspect to it. So have you seen that here in the UAE?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Often they say that. Sorry for the golf fans, but they often say golf or cycling is the new golf, right? So, but it's so nice, going out with a bunch of friends. And cycling and chatting, and after that have a stop, have a coffee, and you burned some calories, so why not a croissant with it or whatever, So it's very social, and the mistake a lot of people make, and that I also see, is that they want to go too fast too soon, And I always say, start at a low pace. And we call it in cycling terms, you often maybe heard about it, a zone 2 training. Yeah. So zone 2 means that you when you're riding your bike, you still can have a normal conversation. Not that you're like, and actually, when you start riding bikes, that's what you should do for a long time. Yeah. And you will see automatically it will become easier. Yeah. And you automatically will go longer. Yeah. And then when you reach that point that, for example, an hour ride is easy, you say, okay, when you stop, okay, I did an exercise, but I feel really comfortable. Then you can start, maybe increasing the pace and think about that. Yeah, and also don't focus on kilometers or distance. Focus on time.
Time.
Because I mean. Obviously, the faster you go, if you ride for an hour, the faster you go, the more kilometers you will do. But if you say no, I want to. If you really focus on that kilometers, then it might take you too long in the beginning. So just say, okay, let's start with an hour or half an hour, and then your next goal should be an hour, yeah, or 45 minutes. Your next goal should be an hour, yeah, and slowly build it up.
And what injuries do you have to be watching out for?
Sorry, which?
What injuries do you have
injuries?
To be watching for?
If you ride with with the clip-in pedals, which is also an advantage because you have that push-pull effect in cycling, is position of the cleats, because if the position is not right, then obviously you can get knee injuries. Yeah, and again the position, if you're too low, again can cause knee injuries or back injuries, or shoulder discomfort. Position of cleats and saddle and saddle height is important. Yeah.
What I'm curious what you think about spinning classes and RPM classes. Are you a fan of them?
Yeah, because that's one thing I used to do when I was off the bike.
Okay.
That time I used to do some indoor spinning classes, and again it's a social aspect, right? It's a bit of a social aspect. The only downside I see with this is what we talked about before, is that it's too intensive at some points. Yeah. So it's a short time, but very, very, very intensive. So cycling is an endurance sport. Yeah. And I see spinning more as a I wouldn't say like a sprint, but it's more high intensive. Yeah. So again, there if you're just starting, don't straight away go. But when you have that endurance, those spinning classes can help you increase your power. Yeah, what we call your FTP or your VO2 max value. So that's where I see the benefits. Yeah.
Okay, and your bikes, like Colnago bikes, are super high. Like they're a high end bike.
Yes.
But for someone that's out of reach, and I encourage everyone to try them because they're amazing, and I think it gives you an idea. But where do you advise someone to sort of start mid-range if they want to get their own bicycle?
Well, first of all, I know that Colnago, we have very high-end bikes, but we also have, let's say, mid-range. Okay. It starts at mid-range bikes, so also there we have some options. But it's a good question, and again, I come back to the fact that what do you want to achieve? Yeah, what do you want to do with the bike? Yeah, and then you look at the material. So when we talk about bikes, to me there are three important aspects of bikes. You have your frame, you have your group set, which is all related to the shifting and the brakes, and then you have your wheels. Yeah, and a frame and a group set. When you buy your bike, it's something you probably won't upgrade, especially not a frame, because then it's better to sell the bike and to upgrade the whole bike. Wheels are the most easy thing to upgrade. Yeah, so if you look at a budget, and wheels can be a big budget on a bike, I would say, just keep basic wheels. And those after 6 months or a year, when you get, that's something you can easily upgrade.